Yes. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's show, Managing Finance and Cost of Study Abroad. So we still have a few minutes for a lot of people to join, and in the next 2-3 minutes we would start. Thank you so much, and then please do not forget to subscribe, like, and share this video. Thank you. I know I'm not perfect, but for you I'm fine. You know that I'm worth it. I know you can't deny. You know that it's such a for some peace of mind. Left everything behind, everything aligned. Maybe we should go to a place only we can go. If I tell you what's in my soul, these things you need to know. I just want you to take control. You need to let it go. Look, hey, I remember times we was running out of time. You would look me in the eye, wondering if I was lying, if I loved you though. I always loved you though. I was too caught up in myself just to let you know. But you don't have to worry how I'm feeling, cause my actions always show you what the real is. I might have to scream it from the skyline. I just wanna make sure you can see it. Alright, yeah. Everything about you is alright. You know when we're making love, it's all night. Even if we're making war, then it's our fight. And it's worth it, even though it's painful. Cause our love really needs a circulation, let it flow through. Let us lead it to a place where we can grow to. Let me show you. Yeah. Maybe we should go, maybe we should go to a place only we can go. If I tell you what's in my soul, these things you need to know. You need to know, you need to know. I just want you to take control. You need to let it go. Yeah. Take it, take it, take it. Let's do this. I'm ready. No, you can trust me. Trust me still. On my own on a Friday night. My friends are on my phone, they keep blowing up my line. Send me your location, the Uber's outside. Running out of time. If we're going out for the night, I'ma meet you down on the floor. Hi, good evening once more, and thank you so much for joining me today. My name once more is Yetunde Beatrice, and you're welcome to today's show at Pure Empowerment with Yeti, where we discuss various issues and also talk about ideas and how to support people on study abroad opportunities. And also my show, we talk about, scholarship opportunities and what you need to do when you're planning to study abroad, what you need to put in place. Not just that, I also mention as we continue on my channel, as you follow me along or as you come on board, we'll also be having sessions where we have people who have,
worked so hard, who have been able to pick up opportunities and make good use of it. So I want to say thank you so much and good evening wherever you're watching me across the world. Whether you're watching me from Africa or you're watching me from Europe, or currently you're watching me from Asia, or you're watching me from Russia, wherever you are. My name once more is Yetunde, and today's topic we will be covering managing finance and cost for study abroad. Last time, if I do a recap, I talked about study abroad. I talked about some finances which you need to have. I talked about bank accounts. I talked about the fees you'll be paying when you're looking to study, and this is of course different from when you're being sponsored as skilled worker. So this time around is about how you can manage your finance or your cost. But before then, I also want to use this, medium to appreciate my colleagues who are also in other universities who are doing great and wonderful or amazing things in their various institutions. Last week, I was in Beulah, where I was opportunity to meet a lot of people, lots of international officers, regional managers, directors, who were able to share ideas, were able to share, the opportunities at their university, and also how I used the opportunity to, compare that with my own university. And I got this little and amazing gift that from the guys who do TOEFL exams. So I got this amazing gift, which I want to use this opportunity to say thank you to them for giving me this brand. And so this is not a sponsored advert, but it's just, to appreciate my colleagues who were able to give me this wonderful gift. Probably they know that I'm a kind of person that love research. I love my pens, I love my books, I love my pen drive, and of course, I love my purse where I save so many contacts and where I could get information to support you. So thank you so much, TOEFL team who were at the Beulah event in Wales. So now let's go back to the major discussion of today: managing finance and for study abroad. What do you need to put in place? What are the things you need to consider? Please don't forget, before I start talking or sharing the opportunities, if you're watching me live, please do not forget. Don't even please forget. Before you start looking deep into what I'm going to talk about or hearing me, please subscribe to this channel. Don't just subscribe, but also like this video and share this video. And after, I would also be having this video. It will be uploaded on YouTube, and later you can go back to watch it if you miss any points, or if you feel you have friends and loved ones who are looking to go for a study abroad opportunity. Please feel free to share this with them, and they can listen to that anytime. They can also go to my previous video. I did a video last week. I did one last 2 weeks that covered about some opportunities, but of course, I'm just mentioning some points. So there will be other videos where I would expand more on opportunities in the UK, how you can tap into those opportunities. So on the 31st, I'm also going to be having another show, probably 31st or before then. I would be bringing in an expert, someone who is an international person in the UK, who never actually studied, but was able to get an opportunity from Nigeria, from Africa down to the UK. Yes, so if you're someone who is keen to improve your academic experience, coming to do your master's or your undergrad or your PhD in the UK, is also a good way for you to improve yourself academically or gaining international experience. But if you're looking to get a work experience in the UK, there are some other things you need to know about. So those are the things I'll be discussing when I bring the expert in. So I'm going to be sharing more information about that later on. So if you keep track of what I do, you would be seeing posters around, and then you'll be able to know when that show will come up. So now let's go back to the major thing of the day: managing finance and cost for study abroad. Now, a lot of things are involved, or there's a lot of things you need to put in place when you're looking to study in the UK, or if you're looking to study outside your country, or if you're looking to study, away from where you're based or where you're living. Now, a major thing that people forget or think about is that after getting your unconditional offer, after getting your admission, what next? What are the things you need to put in place? And most times people think about, I'll apply for visa. After visa, the rest is done, or I need to have a living expenses without actually factoring or thinking about what they need to put together, or thinking about the life after the study, or thinking about, the economic situation, which might have impact on whatever savings you have if you're looking to study in the UK or outside the UK. So it's very important as an international student or an intending student to think about those areas, those things, to think about your finance, to think about after, or let's say in the situation, if things arise and if you need to get some stuff, or if you need to get some certification in addition to what you're coming to do in the UK, are there expenses or costs associated with it? So those are the things you need to put in place. Now, I will talk about, studying your tier 4 if you're looking to study abroad, or if you're coming with a dependent. Now, last time I mentioned about the total amount you need to have. And it's not just about having that money. We all understand that that money doesn't come just like that. It's not something you can get within a day or 2 or 3. And that goes down to how well or how long it's going to take you to plan yourself. I mentioned my own personal experience. When I was coming to study, I had a plan of 2 years plan. It was something I was planning in advance. I didn't just wake up one day to say, I want to go out to study. The first thing I thought about was, I want to study somewhere, but I don't know where to study. Now, at the point, my parents wanted me to do that back home. You can just do your master's in Nigeria, or maybe do your master's where you finished from, and then become a lecturer and start lecturing. Of course, not everybody will be a lecturer. But the first thing I thought about is, I want to study, but I want to gain international experience. It's not just about doing my master's or doing your master's or doing your PhD, but it's about the international experience. And that was the first step for me, international experience. Then after I thought about, I want to have international experience, I looked around and said, okay, I want to have international experience in a country where I feel I can learn, in a country where I feel there's more diversity, or in a country where I feel, there are more opportunities there. I can enlighten myself. And then I looked around. Okay, we have the US, we have Australia, we have New Zealand, we have the UK. Which is better? Well, all countries are okay. If you go to New Zealand, you always get your experience. If you go to the US, a lot of international experience. Or if you go to the UK to study, a lot of international experience for you. So then I picked the UK. Why? Because it's quite easier to assess. When you are applying to the UK, all you just need to do is look for an institution. Now, at the time, I don't have any finance planned. At the time when I was planning where to pick, where to select, because I wanted the experience, I want the international and diversity experience for myself, and not just for myself, but also to improve what I know and to put that, or to give myself a good career prospect. Do you get? So now, after searching wide and far, going online, asking friends who are actually studying in the UK. I had friends as well who studied in the US. I later settled for the UK because it was quite easier. Application was easier. I made use of agency where I had to pay nothing because the agency was registered with the university. So the same goes to an example which I gave last week in my video. For instance, the University of Lincoln, we work with various agents in Nigeria. We work with various agents in Ghana, Kenya. We work with various agents that have extensions in Tanzania, Mauritius. So we have virtual, agents that you could always connect and access. The world is global now. The world technology has made things easier. You can connect with agents wherever you are. They will help you to put in your application, and then you wouldn't have any issues, regarding mistakes in your application. So that made it very easier for me. At the point, I had zero finance to work with that. Hi, hello. Hi, Philip. Thank you for joining. Thank you so much for joining. And please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed to this channel. And if you have any friends who is looking to do a study abroad, please share this with them because it's an opportunity for them to learn and get more information. So thank you so much for joining, and please keep inviting your friends to join. And advise them not to join late because what is 1 hour is close. So today, as I mentioned earlier, is about managing finance, cost, and study abroad. So I'm trying to share my own personal experience. And I also mentioned that in my next video, or I'm also planning to bring in an expert who was able to get an opportunity right from Africa down to the UK. So I'll be bringing a guest speaker. And of course, before then, I would share the invite to everyone. I'll let you know in advance so that you can prepare your questions. So I will bring in an expert who is a lady who was able to get a job right from Nigeria, live and directly into the UK. So I would bring that person as a guest speaker later on. So I'll just continue with my personal experience. So as I was sharing my personal experience, I said, the first thing you need to think of is finance. Apart from paying your health surcharge, visa fee, having your living expenses in your account of £1,023 per month, because you have to show a length of 9 months, you also need to factor in your accommodation. You also need to factor in some little expenses that might occur or happen in the UK. We all know about the economic situation. We all know about the whole Boris Johnson stepping down. We all know about the inflation in the country. Prices can go up. For instance, electricity prices, gas bills, water bills have increased. Tax as well. If your spouse is working, if they have to pay council tax, that as well is what you need to factor in. So you also need to prepare for that. And that's why I said in my previous video that even if you have a lot of money planned out for yourself, you have a lot of finance, you have a lot of money to take care of yourself while you're studying, you also need to plan and prepare to use your 20 hours to work. Or even though you have a family or you have an uncle or your auntie who is rich to help you to your study abroad, for your study abroad, you also need to learn or plan how you can make your 20 hours, factor that in, and how you can balance that with your studies. So I'm going to stress more on that in today's video. So we still have more time. I still have about 45 minutes here. So I would expatiate more on what you need to do, how you need to go about it. So now, back to my experience. At first, when I was looking for agents, I didn't spend a dime. I only, gathered my money. I mentioned 2 years of what it actually took me 2 years to plan ahead. I was working at the same time, speaking with my parents to put in money together, saving up money at the same time. Now, I had that in place. I made my application because the agent, it was free of charge for me. But at the point when I need to pay my visa fee, I was already planned down. I planned everything out. I already know the amount I'm going to be paying for my visa fee. I know the amount I'm going to be paying for my health surcharge. I knew the amount I was going to be paying for, the amount I needed in my account. At the time, it wasn't up to 12 million naira. It was lesser than that. Now, things are more expensive. If you are coming to study, I mentioned you need to have £1,023 in your account. If you're bringing your family, there's also a particular amount you need to show that you have enough money to take care of your family when you come into the UK. If you're married, you need to provide money in your account for your wife. You need to provide money for your kids as well. You need to show that in your account before your visa can be granted. So those are the things you need to plan out. So if you're here, you're watching me, or probably you're watching me here on YouTube, or you're going to watch me later on, the advice is look into what you need to put in place. Finance is very important. Now, if you don't plan your finance, or you may say you manage to have your money in your account to come in, you pay for your health surcharge, and then your university have these rules that you need to pay half of your fees before you enroll, and you don't later meet up, it's a buy. It's what they call the person will be on their own. Now, the same thing I mentioned in my last 2 videos, that university have different policies. For instance, for Lincoln, if you're coming to study in Lincoln, you need to, if you've paid your cash deposit, you need to compulsorily plan up to half of your fees before you are able to enroll. If you fail to do that, then it means that the university will need to send that student back home. It's one thing I tell my students: you can't afford to go back home after spending a lot of money to come to study, after paying your deposit £3,000, after paying health surcharge, after paying visa fee, which can be up to $900 or $800. So you can't afford to, just pay money and then go back home. So what do you need to do? Now, we all understand that university will expect that you have all your money in your account before coming. So if you're saying you're paying £3,000, what happened to the rest of the fees? That rest of the fees needs to be in your account. And that is what you need to show, plus your living expenses. that you are able and capable of staying in the UK without any problem. That is it. That is how it's done. So now we all understand that, as an international student or as an African student, things can happen. Things like, maybe your uncle or your family would have issues back home and you needed to have some things to block some things. We all understand those things happen. Now, the good thing is that each universities have the very flexible plan. Some university, I wouldn't say all university have a very flexible plan, but I can speak for Lincoln because that's where I work. Lincoln have a flexible mode of payment. In that kind of situation, the first thing is, hi, thank you for joining. I think we have another person join. We have a situation whereby when you pay your fees, you pay up to 50% for enrollment. Then need to plan out how you pay the remaining 50% of your fees. Now, how would you do that? If I were to be you, let's imagine if I'm the student, I'm coming to study. I have my wife, for instance. If I'm a man, I have my wife, I have my kid. I got my cash deposit. I would also ideally I would want my wife and my baby to come at the same time because sometimes it can be very stressful if you're coming alone. You get the accommodation. When your wife is coming, things can change, economy can change. But if you don't have that finance, you don't need to pressurize yourself. Your wife can join you later, and your baby can join you later. But if your wife is coming with you, it's not really advisable leaving your daughter or your son, especially if they are young. Because if they are young, they will not be allowed to cross the border if they are young. Let's say if you have a 1-year-old baby or 2-year-old baby, you might be thinking, oh, well, if my husband come or if my wife come, I will tell my grandma or I will tell my auntie to bring the baby across. But you still need to do a lot of work by letting, because for your uncle, for your auntie to bring your child across, then you need to provide some documents. Hi, Esther. Hi, Sister Esther. Thank you so much for joining. God bless you. Um, I don't know if you can hear me. Please, if you can hear me, just put a hi on the chat. Um, yes, you should be able to hear me now. My speaker is very good, all well, and it's fine. So please do let me know if you're not able to hear me. And I'm just put a message. You should be able to hear me now. Yes. So I was talking about, I was talking about planning yourself. So if you're coming with your husband or your wife or study abroad, the best thing to do is come with your spouse if you have the money. If you don't, you can plan in a way that you come first, settle the accommodation for your family, and then your wife or your husband can join you later. But don't plan in a way that only you and your wife will come and then you leave your kids. Reason because if you do that, you then need to look for somebody to bring them, or you need to pay an extra fee to go back home to bring your family, to bring your kids down in the UK if you're coming to study. So now, as I mentioned, you need to plan yourself. Now, what do you need to have in place? Your finance. I mentioned your finance. Now, if you don't have the money to bring your family, the whole family, you can come alone. Now, what do you need to put in place? Accommodation. Then you need to factor out in the accommodation, what kind of accommodation are you looking for? Are you looking for a cheaper accommodation? Are you looking for an expense? You want to live a large life? Are you that kind of person? If I to be that student, if I to be a student and I'm married, if I have that money to bring my wife, I'll bring my wife. If I have that money to bring my husband, I'll bring my husband. I will tell you the advantage. If I don't have money, I would rather come alone and then plan later. So I will tell you the advantage and disadvantage of both. If I'm a man and I have a wife, I want to study abroad, yeah? I know that I'm the student. I'm only entitled to 20 hours to work a week. I will bring my wife, or if I'm the wife, I will bring my husband. Now, the benefit of doing that is because as a student, I'm only restricted to 20 hours a week, but my spouse is entitled to work full time. So that's when you see, when you get your visa and your spouse get their visa, you always see it on the BRP. It will state, you don't have a limit time to work. But as a student, you'll be limited to 20 hours. But your spouse doesn't have a limited time to work. So now, me bringing my spouse or bringing my husband or my wife to the UK means that I can focus on my studies. I can then still use my 20 hours to work, and my spouse can work as anytime they want. So it doesn't because they have opportunity to apply for full-time jobs that can pay, or even contract jobs that can pay them cool money. Now, your spouse will be able to save up. Even you as a student will be able to use your 20 hours to save up some money. So let's imagine if I'm the person coming to study, right? And this is, can you confirm if you're able to hear me? If you're not able to hear me, please do let me know. Then I will check if there's something wrong with my speaker. But for my own side, it seems everything seems okay and fine with my volume. So as I mentioned, if I'm the one working and I end up looking for a care job is what I advise students to do. Let's say I get 10 pounds per hour. I'm able to get a care support or support job. I get 10 pounds per hour. It means if I make use of my 20 hours to work a week, plus being able to manage my studies, I can save up to 200 pounds a week. If I do that for 4 weeks, for a month, I have 800 pounds to save up. Now, that is 800 pounds. Let's do that calculation. Now, I'm with my spouse. Maybe I'm a man. I'm with my spouse who is my wife. Now, at the time when I will go to work, my wife will be at home with the kids. At the time I'm back, my wife will go to work. I will be with the kids. Now, one thing I always advise students and their dependents, don't even make the mistake of leaving your kids at home. So, in my next video or the next video where I'll be inviting the guest speaker, the person is going to talk about how to manage your family in the UK. So that one, you'll be able to get more information. So I wouldn't want to stress more on that. So that's how you will be able to manage that. So let's imagine my spouse is working, and let's say that my spouse was able to get a support work. If not support work, your spouse can get a contract job that will give them cool cash. So let's imagine, let me go for the support work. And let's say my spouse is also being paid 10 pounds per hour. Yeah. And my spouse can work full time. And my spouse is working, let's say, 40 hours a week, Monday to Friday, you split it up, yeah? And my spouse is being paid 10 pounds per hour. It means that my spouse will get 400 pounds a week. Now, 400 pounds times 4, it means my spouse is getting 1,600 pounds a month. Plus the 20 hours when I get 800 pounds. So it means altogether as a couple, we are getting 16 plus 800. That's 2,000. That's approximately 2,000. Let's say 2,200. I put more than 2,200, 2,400 pounds a month. So that's 2,400 pounds. So getting 2,400 pounds in conjunction with my couple, with my wife or with my husband, we then get a house of 550 together. We pay per month. So you can see that you have a lot of money to save. So let's say you get an accommodation of, let's say 600, or let's say 700 with bills inclusive, everything inclusive. So out of 2,400, you minus your 700 pounds out. So if you do the calculation, you should have nothing less than 1,800 pounds to save up. So 1,800 pounds to save up. Then I believe I have not paid my fees, and maybe at the time I've paid only half of my fees. Out of the 1,800 or maybe 1,600, you budget maybe 200 or 300 per month for taking care of your buying food at home. Accommodate, schooling here is free of charge for children, for kids, so you don't need to spend more. The only place where you spend money, maybe you want to get uniform, you want to get maybe extra support in the schools for your child. You just ask for some token, so it's not much. You don't spend much. Now, if you do the calculation, let's say at the end of the day, I have about 8,300 to save up. I can decide to pay 600 pounds a month towards my fees. And you can see, because myself and my spouse, or my spouse and I, were able to put up money together. So that's the advantage of bringing your spouse when you come to study abroad. Now, let's look at the other side, where you don't even, let's say you're not married, or let's say you're married, you don't have that finance to bring your spouse in the UK. Now, the best thing for you to do is, the money in your account is only going to take care of yourself, just only going to take care of you. The best thing to do is you apply for visa, you come to study, then prepare, start a part-time job, 20 hours. I know it's not easy, but if you put your mind to it, anything is possible. If you're not the lazy type, if you're like the hardworking type, anything is possible. So you work, you save up, let's say 800 pounds a month. Yeah. And in that kind of case, I would not advise you to get a big house. You can just get a shared flat. For instance, in Lincoln, you can get a shared flat of 250 pounds bills inclusive, 350 bills inclusive. So let's say you're able to get a shared apartment for like 300 pounds and you're getting 800 per month, bills inclusive. So if you minus 800 if you minus 300 from 800, you have 500 pounds to save. well, that's still not enough. Now you have £500 to save. Let's say at worst you pay 150 for the whole cooking you for yourself. Your where you stay is not far from the university. You can always walk 5 to 10 minutes walk. So out of 500, you take 150 out. You have £350 to save. If you want, you can decide to pay £200 towards your fees. At least you know something is coming in every month or is going out from your account into the university's account. You don't just keep mute at paying your fees. So that is also a scenario. Now we know that is not enough, right? It's not enough. Now, another thing you could do is either look for a better or higher paying opportunity, part-time jobs that can pay you more. Now, you can be lucky you get a job that is £15 per hour, depending on the role. And I do advise students, the job that could really give you that amount is a support work job. That's mostly the job that could give you such an amount, support work job. So that's the job that can give you £10 per hour, £15 per hour, or £20 per hour. So if you get that kind of job, you can save more if you're getting £20 per hour, for instance, which is of course not everybody will get the what they say. Not everybody will get the £12 per hour. Do you get? So if you get that kind of job, you can save up towards that. You can save up towards that. You can save like you can have double of the 800, which is £8,600. So which means you're able to pay your bills of £300, and then you have 1,300 to save up, and then you can pay more towards your fees. And with the money you have, you're able to take care of yourself. You can plan for your wife, for your spouse to come and study in the UK. So that's just the two scenario I can share with you for now. And before I continue, I also do advise you or encourage you, please, if you've not subscribed, subscribe to the channel. Or if you're going to be watching this video later, please subscribe, like, and share. I do mention, you shouldn't be the only one listening to this great opportunity. It's always important, or a way where you can make impact is not just, listening and sharing with the word of mouth, but also sharing with someone who might need this great opportunity is a way of making great impact. Now, I've talked about how you can manage those finance if you're coming with your spouse or you're not coming with your spouse. Now, another thing you can also consider, which you need to consider, is if you've not paid if you have the money to pay your full fees, pay it off. At least that gives you a rest of mind that you won't be chased up for fees. Because I have various examples. I have a lot of examples whereby students are not being able to pay their fees in advance, and then they get they get worried and they get chased up for their fees. So you wouldn't want to wait to that stage where your university had to follow up on you, or your university have to chase up on you before you can pay your fee. So you don't want to get into that stage where you then need to be chased up. So that's one thing you need to put into place. Now, there's one thing I did not mention. The fact that you are paying IHS. Now, one thing, the mistakes that people make is, I pay too much towards my visa fees. It's a lot. When you're paying towards IHS, it means that you would have access for medical access. So it means you will be having medical access. If you pay for IHS, it means you don't need to pay for fees when you go to hospitals, or if you're sick, you don't need to go to hospital. So that's one thing about, paying for your IHS. So the UK has made things easier in a way that as a student, there are other things you can benefit from that would actually save you money. Let's say, for instance, one of your child is sick or you're sick. You don't need to be worried about paying for private doctors. You can always access the NHS. You can always get free medical checkup. But if you need to get medication in England, you have to pay for it. If in Scotland, you don't pay for it. For some, you don't pay. But the good thing is you have access to medical checkup. Your children have access to medical checkup. Your spouse have access to medical checkup, which will save you lots of money. One other thing to also save up money for yourself is get places where you can get things of student discounts. Now, probably in my next video, I will do examples of places or things which you can always get discounts. Some people do 10% discounts. Some people do 15% discounts. Going to stores or grocery stores that would open up discounts for you is a way to save up money for yourself. Now, For instance, if you're doing a shopping and you have to pay £200, if you have 10% discounts, that is saving you a whole lot of money. Well, you might not say a lot of money, at least the money is enough to buy you a pasta to cook for your whole family. So that is a way of that is a way of saving up money. Now, apart from that, as a student, there's also some things you need to know. A way you can save up money, because you're a student, you don't pay for tax, you don't pay council tax. So that is saving up a whole lot of money for you. Now, let's say, for instance, what people don't know about the council tax, how is saving up money for you? Let's say you are earning, if you're earning money, depending on where you live, every houses have their own band. For instance, if you're on band A, there's a particular amount you need to pay. If your house is on band B, you pay up to 1,500 plus a year to the government. So as a student, you don't pay this council tax. You are exempted. Or if you're living with somebody who works full time, who have to pay council tax, that person will have 25% off the payment of council tax. So by being a student, there's a lot of benefits and a lot of finance for you to save up. Now, I'll soon be rounding off. So before rounding off, I wanted to just talk about some payments breakdown for some students. So I mentioned earlier having an example. So let's say you are coming to study at the University of Lincoln and you have applied for a course called MSc Management at the University of Lincoln. Now, the good thing is in the University of Lincoln, MSc Management have a 1-year placement route. That is not just for MSc Management. Courses like accounting and finance, courses like MSc Digital Marketing, hospitality, tourism have a 1-year placement route. And that 1-year placement route, you don't pay for the 1-year course. Now, if I'm the student and I'm paying, the fees is £15,500, yeah? I'm trying to figure out how high as a student or how I would manage my finance, things starting from the beginning. So £16,500. Lucky enough, I have a tutu. The university give me £5,000 discount. It means I'm left with £11,500 to pay. Yeah. So I'm that student. I have £11,500 to pay. Yeah. And I know in my heart that I only have money to sponsor myself. Let's say I have if I'm a man, let's say I have a wife, right? I have £11,500 to pay. It means I've been able to save up £5,000 for a 2-year program that will give me 2 years in the UK, 1 year study, 1 year placement, and 2 years post-study graduate visa later on. I save up £5,000. Yeah. First thing first I did was to look for a suitable institution that would give me a very massive discount and save me a whole lot of money. I've been able to save up to 3 million naira by coming to University of Lincoln. I have £11,500 to pay. Now, if I divide the £11,500 by 2, I have £5,750. Yeah. So now, as that student, what I will do first is to look for my £3,000 to pay my CAS deposit, and then I can launch out to request for CAS. I request for CAS, I get my CAS. I arrange my money in my account to pay for my deposit. What do I need? Of course, I need £1,023 times 9. Let's say I do that one approximately £10,000. I also need to have my IHS fee, which is over $400, and I also need my visa fee, which is over $700. When I have that, I apply for visa. Now, don't forget, I already paid £3,000. Ideally, I also need to plan up to $2,750 before enrollment so that the university won't chase me back to my family. So I'll then launch towards paying that. But when I pay that, I still have $5,750 to pay. So that $5,750, I can then spread that across 9 months. If I spread that across 9 months, I have about 600 plus to pay every month. What I would do as that student is, when I come into the UK, first thing first I would do is to get my BRP, apply for my NI number, where I can get my unique number to be able to get jobs. And then I launch into agencies. I start looking for agencies online. The advice I do tell students is, even when you get the visa, the best thing for you to do is to start searching before you arrive. Look for opportunities on time. So that, because getting a job is not something that will just come to at your doorstep. You also need to know what you need to do to get the job. If you have to prepare your CV or you have to do an online application. Now, being that student, I will just put in an application. Why I'm still sorting my studies, because my primary reason why I'm in the UK is to study. So I need to ensure I don't have issues with my sponsor. because you being a student, you are sponsored by the university and you have to strictly go to class, ensure you follow the rules, but of course, being able to combine that with your 20 hours. So now I'll go to online and look for agencies, maybe care support agencies or job opportunities or part-time job opportunities in the UK. I apply. Lucky enough, I get called because normally support workers, you always get called because it's a very big gap in the UK. They're looking for more care workers, more support workers, more health worker or health assistant jobs. It's always open. So I apply for that. If I get that job, I get a 10 pound per hour. I know that 1 month to my classes or 1 month after classes, I'm settled. I don't need to worry about, I'm going to be spending all my money in my account. What if there's inflation? What if there is this? How do I manage? At least by doing that, I've been able to manage myself. I've been able to have money in my account and at the same time have an inflow of money, like a savings for myself in case if I have to pay extra on things, or if I have to get an additional certification, or if I have to pay extra or on my accommodation. So as you can see, those are like examples of things I can do. I mentioned if I end up having maybe 800 pounds a month, if I were to be that student, I'll just look for a very, very cheaper accommodation to stay. I wouldn't even stress myself of living too large for 800 pounds. I rather get a place of 250 or 300 pounds. Then when I get the 250 or 300 pounds, I know I still have about a couple of 500 pounds to save. I can then pay 250 towards the university account and then go to the restaurant, go to the African stores, get food for myself and manage myself per month. That's a good way to sort out yourself if you are a single person or you're looking to study abroad or you're looking to manage your finance. So so I'm almost coming to the end of this session today. Today is going to be very, very brief. As I mentioned, I'm going to be having my next show. Now, in my next show, I will invite someone. Or my next show, I'll just talk generally, but I'm going to be having an upcoming show where I will bring in an expert. That expert is a lady who was able to get job directly from Nigeria to the UK. And I'm also going to be having a call. It's going to be a calling show for that day where I'll release a WhatsApp number where you can call me directly, ask questions. And also if you want to, contribute to the session, then there will be time to contribute to the session. The session will be more than an hour because it's going to be a special show. So I'm going to be sharing that on my platform later on in the week. So I would advise, if you've not subscribed, please subscribe. Click on like, share, and of course, there's a notification bell. Whenever I upload videos or whenever I come online, you get a notification. I also do encourage you, if you have a question, you're watching me, or you're going to watch me later on, please do not hesitate to drop your question at the comment section. Whenever I see the questions, I'll answer. If it's live now, I'll pick your questions and answer. If it's not live, I can go back and put a chat, reply back to your question. So I have some people who have messaged me privately on my WhatsApp chat regarding planning finance. So the question is here from someone who is currently viewing: how much do I need to have in my account when I'm looking to study? So I mentioned that in my previous video. I said, and the easiest way, and I think the best thing is to mention the easiest way to look for this information. If you go to gov.uk, you will be able to get information. You'll be able to get information on how much you need in your account. So if you're looking to study in the UK, I mentioned that in my previous video, and someone have asked that again. You need about £1,023 a month. You have to show 9 months in your account. 9 months in your account. 9 months in your account. You have to multiply £1,023 times 9. That is what you need to show as living expenses. That is not the only thing. You also need to show the remaining of your school fees in your account altogether. That is what you need to show before you can be granted visa. All this information are not made up information. Those are the things you can always find when you go on the UKVI website. When you go on gov.uk, you would see the information on the website. So apart from that, if you're coming with a dependent, you also need to show a certain amount in your account that would be enough to take care of your dependent at least 9 months. So those are the things you need to put in your account. And I mentioned earlier, if you know you don't have the finance to bring your family, you can decide to come alone. When you have money to bring them, you bring them in. But don't forget, you need to bring them in before your post-study work visa, before your graduate visa, because if you fail to bring them before your graduate visa, they might not be granted later on after. So ahead, and that's the major information, because there's no point bringing your family when you have 6 months to stay in the UK or 2 months to stay in the UK. There's no point. So you rather bring them in when you have a lot of time to stay in the UK, and you can prove that they need to be with you. Do you get? So that's the case. But if you have a dependent and you can bring your dependent, it will be favorable for you. I made a scenario, I made an example in a situation where you are working, you are earning £10 per hour as a student who have only 20 hours to work a week. It means you can save £800 a month for yourself. Now, imagine your spouse is also in the UK with you and they don't have any limits to work, right? And they get £10 per hour. It means your spouse can, if they're hardworking and they can work 40 hours a week, they are able, they can save up to £1,200 a month. Now add that £1,200 with your £800. That's like having £2,000 for yourself as a family. And let's say you get a house of £600, or let's say £700, bills inclusive, everything. If you remove £700 from £2,000, you have £1,300 to save. £1,300, let's say you spend £300 for feeding. At worst, you buy your gari, you buy your rice, you buy your tomatoes. Food are very cheap. Trust me, food are very cheap, affordable in the UK. You can get the tomatoes of £1, £2. You use to cook soup, put it in your fridge. So it's not expensive for you to get. But if you're coming from Nigeria, you can afford to bring some with you so that you can save up money. Then you have £1,000 left. Out of the 1,000, you can decide to take 600 or 650 to go towards the remaining of your fees. So that will give you an opportunity to plan your 9-month payment plan with your university. So now, this is just University of Lincoln. Some university have 3-month plan. Some university have 5-month plan. Some university, you need to call the finance team to negotiate and to talk to them on how you pay. Some of them will say, okay, I want to set up a direct debit. Not all universities receive direct debits. But what you can do is, as long as you have a token, once you have a token, you can spend, just go into the bank, pay it into the account. At least the university will know that something is coming in from your side. So you wouldn't have a lot of disturbance from the university if you plan towards that. So that is for that. So there's one last question here, which I will take before I call it a day. Someone here have asked, how easy is it to get an opportunity? Please, if you have a question, just drop it on the chat as to messaging me privately. So if you join the show and just put it on the chat. So a question here from a friend or from a viewer here is, how easy is it to get a job? I mentioned this in my last video, and in my upcoming videos, I'm going to be bringing an expert. I'll bring someone who can share their life experiences, how they're able to get the video. So hopefully you'll be able to join and get more information from that. So to get opportunities in the UK, you can get if you are the hardworking type. As long as you're not laid back, you will get. Well, I'm not saying it's guaranteed. It's not guaranteed. But you also need to search for that opportunity. There's one beautiful quote I like saying, a closed mouth is a closed destiny. If you close your mouth, you don't ask questions, it will be very difficult. But if you're this type that research, that ask questions, you will always get your opportunity. Big time. Now, I mentioned in my last video what you need to do. When you come, the first thing first is get your BRP. Your BRP give you a headway because that's the reason why you're here. That's the identity in the UK. After getting your BRP, you also need to call the job center. Tell them, I'm a student, I'm only entitled to 20 hours, I want to get my NI. You call them, they send you an application form to your address, or they tell you, or they signpost you to an online platform, their website, where you can fill in an online application. So when you fill in the online application, it takes about a week or 2, sometimes 3 weeks, depending on how they are able to search for your information. And then they provide you with a unique NI number. Now, the unique NI number is also your identity. That is linked to your tax. That is linked to HRMC. That is linked to any employer that would employ you will ask for that unique number. So without that unique number, you can't get any part-time job as a student or as a full-time person, as a dependent in the UK. So your priority when you come in is settle your studies. For your dependents, they get their BRP and they register to get their unique number. You as a student, make sure you don't have any issues with your sponsor. Because if you, for instance, as a student, if you overwork more than 20 hours, that could cause a red flag. That could be reported to the UKV, and you can be sent back home. So you need to ensure that your full-time study is there, and also you're able to combine it with your 20 hours to work. But for your dependents, who are the lucky ones, your dependents are the lucky ones who have the full time. They can, in fact, if they want to work 1,000 hours, which is not possible anyway, they are free because they are dependents. So your dependents can work as many hours as they can. So for your dependents, their priority would be to ensure they work with you to settle, and they need to call the job center. Very easy. How do you get a job center? Just search on Google, job center in Lincoln, job center number. You call them, you introduce yourself and tell them you need to apply and get your NI number. And then they send the application form to you. And once you get your number, the sky is your limit. Then you start putting in your application. You can either walk into a job agency and tell them, I'm a dependent, I can work full time. This is my CV. If you have any job relating to my experience, please holler me or call me. And then they call you, they give you a call, or you can go online, check for agencies. So probably what I will need to do is I will do also another show. Maybe maybe I can just do that next week. I'll look for shows. I'll do another show where I will tell you examples of agencies you can register to. So I will do those research for you. In my next video, I will talk about different agencies. I can maybe share my screen with you on how you can search it up, what you need to do. I can do that as the next show. While the upper show will be where our host, or let's say our guest speaker, will come in, share a personal experience. She will also share with you how you can keep your family, how you can manage family and studies if you're a student. If you're a skilled worker, she's also going to share with you how you can live life in the UK, being a mother or a father, at the same time looking for opportunities, and how you can get these opportunities as quick as possible. So thank you so much for listening. I'm already going to round off because I've been here for more than minutes. And I do encourage you, please, if you've not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Don't be the only one listening to Yetunde. You can as well make an impact in the life of someone who is willing to move to the next level in their academic career, or in their career, or in their academic dealings. So please share this video to anyone who is looking to study abroad, or for anyone who is looking for a progression academically or in any form. And I hope you've been able to get all the information you need. And do not forget, even if I'm going to be ending this video right now, you can also put your questions on the comment section, and I will go back and answer those questions, as many as they can. So I have just one more question, which has actually popped in here on my chat. So someone already asked, is care work the only work I can do if I come as a dependent? No. So support work is not the only work you can do. Please, in my upper video, not the next week one, the upper one, I'm going to be bringing a guest speaker that would share with you tips on how you can look for opportunities, job opportunities as a dependent. And also as a student, we'll talk about how you can use your 20 hours and examples of job. But for next week, what I will do is I will make a list of agencies that can assess, that way you can assess 20 hours part-time jobs. But for dependents, you can also apply to those agencies for a full-time job. So I will talk about that in my next video. Next week, I also talk about some accommodation agencies, how to search for accommodation agencies, where to go, what you need to do, how you need to organize yourself if you're coming with a dependent. So I'll talk about that. So those are the things I'll be talking about in my next week video. My next 2 weeks video will be a guest speaker. So I would advertise that in advance so that we have a lot of engagement, because it's going to be fun and it's going to be an opportunity for you to get more information about study abroad. This last question I'll just take. Care work is not the only thing you can do. In fact, you can work in the grocery stores if you choose to. There are some organizations that do part-time jobs. Maybe if you're into designing, some people might want maybe a designer to work maybe 15 or 20 hours. Most times it's only 25 hours, part-time. But as a student, you can't work 25 hours. You have to work 20 hours. For your dependents, I do encourage your dependents to look for high-paying contract jobs. yes, you can get high paying contract jobs by looking at agencies online or walking into agencies. For instance, in Lincoln, we have some agencies that are 5 minutes, 10 minutes away from the university. If you're studying in Glasgow, Glasgow is a very big city. There are a lot of agencies that you can approach. Just check online, you get the address, and then you can walk in with your CV, submit your CV. Or if you can't walk in, you can look that online. So in my next video, I will give you the list of agencies in the UK. I might not be able to get where you're going to study, but probably when you join next week, you can tell me where you stay and then we can explore that together. But I will share you examples of job agencies in the UK. I will share you their names. I'll share you their website. And also I will share you some accommodation agencies that you can access. So that will be my next week video. So please don't miss out, or if you're going to be watching this video later, don't miss out from next week. It is going to be an exciting show next week, because that is where you're going to be getting more information of what you need to do. And if you're already in the UK and you feel, I've tried some agencies but they've not been forthcoming, there are tips, there are things you need to know. The first question you need to ask yourself is, do you have the right experience? Are you applying to the right jobs? If you have the right experience and you're applying to the right job, are you applying to the right company? Then if you are in that position, join me next week, Sunday, for the next episode. So next episode will be tips and examples of organizations, agency organization you can submit your CV and you can apply to. So thank you so much for listening. So I'm not going to be taking any question for now, but please feel free to drop your question on the comment section. Like my video, share, subscribe, and press the notification bell. Thank you so much for listening to Pure Empowerment with Yeti. As I mentioned, the show was solely created to support members of the public, for us to share ideas and for us to be able to help each other and build ideas for a better and sustainable lifestyle. Thank you so much and see you next week. Bye, everyone. Bye. Lay you down easy. I'm trying. 'Cause you're everything else you know. I'm fighting. So when I walk away, it's like a fall. I know it's like a good. And maybe you couldn't help. I always let the good ones go. I always let the good ones go. I'm